rickshaw here. It's the 19th of June. It's Saturday. We're having a really breezy, beautiful day. It is about 91 degrees or 34 Celsius today. The kids and I were doing our bike ride, and something I want to tell you about, if you're a foreigner coming here and you can bring, people always say, what should I bring? What should I bring? Blah, blah, blah. If you can bring anything that you could pack into a Billy Bond box, take it apart or whatever, bring a good bicycle, because you're really not going to get one. I lucked out when Wes sent me this one. It seems to be a really good machine. I'm not having any trouble with it. But these kids' bikes, my daughter's bike, this bike right here, this one's done now. Look at the cheap, how cheap this is. It's all this is rusting. It's never sat in the rain. Look at all this is rusting. It's rusting inside. Now the new one that happened today is the little, see the gear thing? The keyway. I just getting it back together now because it can't be fixed. I have to buy a whole new hub. The keyway was hard as a rock, so what it did was it sheared the whole planet part of it off. It shot. When I took it apart, big chunks of metal were falling out. And this is not the first bike this boy's had. He's had a bunch of them. The Chinese, I truly believe what they send to the Philippines is their absolute garbage that nobody else will take. It's stuff that I think the Chinese actually want to throw in the rubbish. So they say, nah, let's send it to the Philippines. And this is what you get here. If you do buy anything here, do your best to stay away from anything Chinese. Wes, the man who got me the bike, was telling me about he has a really cool looking van. It's a Chinese one. And he said the tranny went on it when he first got it. And then they actually warranted it, fixed it. And then the next time the warranty was out and it went again, so I never heard of I believe it's a stick shift in that. I never heard of a gearbox going out before. Very strange. Wes, tell me if it was automatic or a stick. I think it's a stick, the way it sounded when you were talking about it. But this one here seems to be a pretty good machine. I'm not having any trouble with it all. We've been riding the heck out of it. The only problem with us guys riding bikes right now is every time we go out, we're walking one of the bikes home. I mean, we don't get that on film all the time, but we're walking one of the bikes home, and I got to tear them apart and try and fix it again. Just all this stupid stuff that's going wrong with them, and just what you're going to get here. I don't recommend, if you come here, if you come here and buy anything Chinese. I had a friend when I was working here, and him and his brother both bought vans. They're gonna start up these van businesses, during the day where they drive people around. And the brother, I didn't know him. I just knew him through the brother. And the fellow I knew, he was laughing. He said, my brother bought a Toyota Hi-Ace. Ha ha ha. He paid twice as much as I did, and he had this Chinese van. I think it was a Photon. And he had it for a week, and the axle broke. I don't mean a pin sheared off in the differential and the axle slipped out. I mean the whole axle broken. I saw it. It was mangled. He hit a curb or something, and they wouldn't warrant it. They said it was abuse. So it's parked. It's parked in his place. His whole deal when he got it to make his payment was to work and make the payment that way. Now he's making payments on a thing that's worthless to him, and then after he's done with the payments, then he'll fix it. That's what he's saying anyway. But his brother is still running around driving the Hi-Ace. Actually hired him to drive for him now, because he's got a Toyota. So, when you come here, it's like this thing right here. I've known a lot of people who bought the Chinese bikes when I was at the call center. And those kids, it was so pretty. They were just really pretty looking. and they looked fancy Dan and all this kind of stuff. And within a couple months, that was faded. All the plastics were faded. They started rusting everywhere, just dripping rust. And within a year, pretty much all of them were broken. I went to a dealership down going to GMA where they had these Chinese dirt bikes. And supposedly this decent brand guys were telling me, and I went down there, and I'm talking to the guy, and the price was good, and it looked cool. Had some stainless pieces on it. And then the service manager let me come into the back with him, and I saw the exact same bike, bunches of them. And I was asking him, what year are those? And he goes, oh, those are 2019 and 2020s. Hi, Bob. And they were shot. I mean, these things were like broken and shot just from people riding them. So don't think that you can come here and get a cheapo. Whatever you can bring here that's of good quality, like if you've had a bike for years. When I was in California, there was a Filipino guy and was on Hacienda Road. I can't remember the name of the town. It was up from West Covina where I lived. Filipino guy had a bike shop, and I had him build me a bike. I picked out the frame. I picked out all Japanese bearings for it. Tubeless hubs. It was a mountain bike type bike, but instead of getting a spring front end, I put a Cannondale front end that flexed. And then I had the Alpine hub in the back. I had the 7-speed hub. And all quality stuff. It cost me a lot of money, and I left it in the States. I sold it before I left, and I should have boxed that thing up and brought it. And I'd still be riding it today. This one I think is going to go pretty good. It seems to be pretty good. There's a lot of little stuff on there that's kind of a little bit not the best, but the frame on it's welded very well. Tires are holding air. My son's bike, they never chamfered where it came through. That thing's had so many flats on it. The last flat that I just fixed was one of the spokes went through. Hi, handsome. Got your rickshaw glasses. But I mean, look at this thing. This bike is not that old, and there's look at these things. It's all rusted. Cheap components. Cheap components on it. These brakes on here are the stupidest thing in the world. What a stupid brake. Why don't they give the kids where they push the pedal backwards and they got a brake? Most of these young kids can't squeeze these brakes good enough to stop. And this is all plastic. Now look at this. You can tighten it up, it just breaks. It's all plastic now, or cheap pot garbage. The only bike we have that hasn't broken yet is this one, because there's no pedals, there's nothing to it. The welds are good. We bought that for my son. We paid a good bit. We paid $75, I think, or $70 for that. But he rides the heck out of it. Mooma rides it, and it don't break. That's what I want. I'd like to get something that lasts more than a couple of weeks here. That would be so fine. I'm actually thinking of getting somebody from the States to just ship me bikes and then pay the stupid import tax. Pay double the stupid price for it, just so I can have something. So I had wrenches. My hands were full of grease again today, monkeying with this garbage that they sell you in this country. It's garbage. It's absolute garbage. And I did went to a nice shop and was looking at a bike before. Wes got me this one. It was a Giant. That's what I had, one of those before. Nice bike, and then I'm looking at it. It was real cheap and shitsy. The welds were absolutely done by a 5-year-old. It's supposed to be done by machine, but apparently the machine ran out of welding rods or something, because it just was trailed off and the welds were crap. And they wanted $30,000 for it here. And I'm not willing to pay that. If it would have been put together really well and welded up like this one here, yeah, I'd have bought it. I'd have had it. But nope. It just was too cheesy, and the components that were put together were rusting in the store. There was rust on it in the store. I even told the guy, man, you ought to put some oil on that if you're trying to sell this. He's like, oh, okay. The kid at the store, what does he make? Minimum wage, basically, for the Philippines, $10 a day, maybe. So be careful. be careful what you buy. If you can bring a bicycle, everybody says, oh, what should I bring to the Philippines? What should I bring to the Philippines? If you can bring a good bicycle, if you like to ride bicycles, bring that. You can get Billy Buying boxes. They have a certain size for these Billy Buying boxes, but you can actually stick them together. I told the guy, if I stick 4 of them together, 2 high and 2 long, then he just charges you for 4 boxes. And you can jam them, they don't care about the weight. Just tape them up real good. So I've seen guys send all kinds of stuff. Don't waste your time on bringing anything other than metric tools. If you're going to bring tools like I did, don't bring any of your electric stuff. One thing though, if you can, like a circular saw, if you want to get a transformer or something. I've been wanting to get a circular saw to cut this stupid door off down here because it's just taking up water like a sponge in my house. Cheapest circular saw I can find is $60. And it's crap. The good ones, the brand name good ones, are way over $100. I saw one that I thought, oh boy, here's a good one. The Hitachis are $100. It's just ridiculous what they're charging for this stuff, and they don't even give you a blade. Guys are like, oh, you got to buy the blade. That's another $15. So circular saw might be something to bring. If you got a generator, you can get generators here. Don't bother bringing a generator or anything like that. You can buy generators here pretty cheap. Who knows though how long they're going to last. I've never had one, so I can't attest to if they're going to last. Might be more Chinese stuff. But here we are again though. We're here in Philippines, and they're doing, in certain spots, they're doing all these lockdowns and more stuff. I did see a thing on the news that the president said, okay, we don't need to wear face shields anymore, except in hospitals. And that's not the case. That's not what we're seeing right now. So, I remember when he came in, he was a strong man. What he said was like law. And now these LGUs and even stores are, I think, because they think he's going out of office, they're just going against him. And when he says, no, you don't need to do that, they just say, too bad. And they're just mandating it anyway. Okay? So I think it's just because he's going out of office, and maybe the lame duck type things. Because next year he can't go in again. They have a 6-year term here. There's no two terms here. I imagine if there would have been a 2-term, he'd probably have a little bit more now. But everybody just here is going against him. And when I was here in the beginning, I don't vote. I don't think about it. They talked about the people who were coming in. I didn't know much about anybody. But then all of a sudden he came in, and he got big on this, on the druggies and stuff. And boy, I'll tell you what, our area really changed. I was like, damn. The dopers they were gone. And the ones that, they said, oh, they got shot in the head and all this stuff. Yeah, well, maybe. Personally, myself, if you're some guy dealing dope and you're going to destroy my children, you get shot in the head, that sounds like a personal problem. That's a career choice, So I didn't think that was a bad thing that was going on. I really didn't. He really cleaned things up, and the guys who didn't, something happened to him like that, they turned themselves in. We personally know a guy that was a pretty good doper, and he turned himself in and went to one of these camps that they sent him to, and he turned his life around. And that, when this president in this country came in, then I was sitting back going, man, this, he did a lot of good stuff, But I think right now, everybody up in power is saying, he's on his way out. We don't got to listen to him no more. I think that's what's going on. It's just my opinion. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what goes on in the politics around here, but we're still around here. You go into places, you got to put a face shield on. You got to have a mask on. There's places around that they're giving huge fines. I watched some of the vloggers here that got popped and cost you fines and stuff. But they do get you if you're in a car, like my car, when we got the last one where the guy took the traffic guy took the 1,000 pesos out of my wallet. And what are you going to do? You can't turn them in. You know, what are you going to do? It's just how it is. It's kind of how it is here. You can't fight it. And they're going to look at you and see Kano, and they see dollar signs. And they're low level. You know, the corruption here. Low level corruption is like daily. It's an everyday thing here. They're constantly looking to get a buck, especially with this convict stuff. A lot of people aren't making the money like they used to. And I do feel sorry for the traffic cops, though, you know, but I never see any of them wearing a face shield or anything like that. And they stick their face right in your car, and they don't have no face shield on. You go into stores a lot of times. Yeah.
You got my tummy.
Oh, boy. There you go. Yes, it is. But I mentioned this before in a vlog where none of the people in the store were wearing a face shield, but if you were a customer came in, and these stores, it's not like in America where, you know, there's a person for every department. Here, they've got 10 people for every department. I mean, they've stalkers. Tropical Tim calls them stalkers. And they stalk you when you walk in. And half the time, if you ask for something, they're going to walk way over here to ask somebody else because most of them don't know what the heck is going on. Some of them do. I was talking to a fellow about pumps in the Wilcon Depot. Boy, he was full of information. Top guy. He knew his stuff on pumps, and I was really glad to have met him and talked to him a little bit. That was cool, but most of them don't know what they're talking about. They just don't. They're just the stalkers. But kind of getting off track on what I was going on today, but I'll let you guys, I don't want to make it too long, let you guys go. You know something? Here's the thing. We're not fighting against people and leaders and presidents of nations and all that. We're fighting against powers that are way beyond them. All as those people are up there are nothing but minions of a greater evil. So, you know, pray for these leaders that they can fight this evil that's going on. Because tell me, guys, there's a big evil going on. I talk to most of these Filipinos around here. None of them are buying this stuff that's going on, and they keep pushing it here. It's never ending. I don't know how many months. It was way over a year. March, April, May, June. We're looking at 15, 16 months now of this crap. And what have they accomplished? They keep touting these huge numbers of all these people that are getting it. Well, you know, if something isn't working, do something else. We got a governor down in Cebu says, hey, we're going to do this, and they're fighting the poor girl. You know, they're just fighting this poor girl. Look her up. It's Garcia from Cebu. But look up Grandpa Vlogger and watch his stuff he's got on there, because he can say a lot more things about it because he's a Filipino. I can't. I'm not a Filipino. You know, we're not supposed to get in on the politics and all this stuff here. So that's cool with me. But some of these ones, I see that I haven't really heard a definitive answer yet if Manny's going to run. Just my opinion now. I'm not saying anything what should happen or shouldn't, but I honestly think if he run, it'd be a landslide. It would be a landslide, that's for sure. And they say, oh, he doesn't have the this to do that, and blah, blah, blah. Come on. Sure he does. I think so. I think he would. I think he'd be a great guy. He's a great guy in the first place. I mean, he's a good athlete, and from what I'm understanding, he's one heck of a person too. He's one heck of a guy. So why couldn't he get in there and do it? You know, I look in my country. You had Donald Trump come in. I don't care what you guys say. You want to bash me, I don't give a damn. That guy came in and did more good, and he'd never been in politics before. And now this rummy that's in there right now has been in politics pushing 50 years, I believe, or maybe a little more. And look at him. They're pushing him around. I was watching the GS7 thing there, and that's a big scam, because when they're in front of the cameras, they got their masks on, but when some cameraman gets some shots of them away, they don't have any of that crap. And they're just shoving them around. The president of France, I'm telling you. Talk about the history of the weakest country in the world. You know, my goodness. They're shoving him around. They're sticking their finger, naughty finger in his face. Yeah, bub.
I'm gonna check the fish.
Yep. So I'm cooking fish for these little guys right here, and I'm going to let you go. But don't forget to pray for these leaders. And me. He's going to say it. Ready?
Reach out.
There you go. And don't forget to pray for each other.
No.
He doesn't. Why not? Why don't you do that? Why don't you do that? No. You say it.
Don't forget to pray for each other. This is Rickshaw out. Rickshaw out.
Very good, guys. Very good.